saw some ladies posting about selling their dirty panties online and making like extra money. So I thought, I have dirty panties.
Between 2021 and 2022, my body saw 3 babies.
I want to talk about an important topic, and it's so fucking crazy to me because yesterday on your story, you had just posted that you had something flagged for objectionable activity.
Oh my God.
I want to start from the beginning.
Sure.
What made you become vegan in the first place?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly, but I don't mind to.
I can cry and then like pick myself up and be a boss ass bitch 2 seconds later.
Right. What advice do you have for moms that also struggle with anxiety and depression? A lot of women struggle to find their sexuality or their sexiness once they have to turn it on.
Exactly.
Use this. Oh, your little legs are so short.
We're not talking Christmas morning saying, hey, mom and dad are doing porn. But, you know,
Merry fucking Christmas.
yeah. But just like a methodical, you know, private conversation maybe with them. But we were doing a live webcam show one evening. And one of our kids, my stepdaughter, sent a text message that said, I need to talk to you immediately. And I'm like, this feels different. Something's going on. And so it was a childhood friend of the kids had ran across an ad that a cam platform had ran with our images on Pornhub.
Both you and your husband.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least it wasn't just you.
Right.
I mean that in the best way. If it was your stepdaughter to find it, like, guess what? Your dad was doing it too.
Right. Well, that's what happened is like this childhood friend texts all the kids and said, hey.
All of them?
Yeah. So like all but one, the one that lived away, you know, she wasn't local. And yeah, it was like, your mom and dad are doing porn. And our daughter was the only one really that had the balls enough, I guess, to say, hey, that you should know what's being said or what's going on. And so that moment we shut everything down and called them one by one that evening and said, hey, heard that you got a text, just want to confirm it's true, you know.
Yeah.
So we did that.
How long between them finding out did one of them confront you?
Well, from near as we can tell from the stories, probably about 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least it
About
wasn't
3
a
days.
prolonged experience of them like trying to
Being
figure
traumatized.
it
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Were you always this open with your sexuality as a younger mother?
Yes.
Okay.
As a mom, I didn't go to college till I was 41 and got my degree, Portland State University. Yay. I got a bachelor's of science in pre-med and another one in public health with a minor in gender and sexuality. So sex was never kept a secret in our house. I mean, I was the mom on the block who had the drawer full of condoms because I'm like, if you're going to be stupid, at least be smart about it.
Right.
Very open, you know, with our kids. I have a hard time believing they didn't suspect that we were involved in the swing lifestyle while we never brought anything home. You know, we had a lot of friendly friends.
Yeah. Yeah. How did they all take it in those individual conversations?
So out of the 5, one, so my son decided to disown us. And, you know, I have to preface it with there were some bumps in the road prior to any of this with him and his wife. And so this was, I think, what they grabbed onto to use an excuse. But, you know, I've processed it. It was like grieving a death.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I've really had a lot of help, you know, through a lot of therapy to kind of spin it. And it was my husband one time we had a conversation. He said, you have to respect them. We taught our kids to stand strong in their beliefs, whatever that may be, you know, and that kind of thing. And so it's true. I do respect him. You know, if he doesn't believe it's right or doesn't want to be around it, he's standing true to himself. And that's what I taught him.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. I think, you know, it's interesting. When I was, I believe, like 19 or 20, Playboy called me and was like, hey, do you want to come and interview to be a playmate? Right? And, you know, in that moment, I had to tell my mom and my stepmom was always the one who got to tell my dad because I never had the balls or just like didn't have the respect for him to tell him on my own. Who knows?
Right.
Right. But now, as a mom of 4, I like try to turn that conversation on myself. And have you ever considered how you would have reacted if one of your daughters would have come to you when they were 18 and been like, hey, this is the career? I believe I would have reacted with kind of the same way, kind of that the other kids did. Are you safe? You know, being safe and whatever that means. And are you having fun? Are you making money? You know, then that's your life. I mean, if my child was 18, I would probably be like, and I need to travel with you to make sure, you know, I don't know. I would definitely want to be involved with them at some point. Make sure that they understand the ramifications for sure, because once it's on the internet, it's there forever. Yeah. I mean, I paid a lot of money to get mine off forever. And even with a stage name, right? Like it's very different. And I didn't even go all the way through with it. Wow. It was like, just like the pregame, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting because my mom and stepmom took a pretty similar angle of, we support you. And I worked at the bank at the time. I was a very early stage in my career at the bank, and very different career choices, right? And both of them were like, but we would love to see you take the avenue that has health care, or like, you know, trying to reason with me with things in life that you do need, right? And so I wasn't upset by their approach. Right, I know, right? Something with more of a guarantee. Right. You know, so no, I was curious if you had always been this open and what those conversations would have looked like if reversed.
Yeah, we have always been very open. The kids used to tease us that, you know, they'd make fun of us because they could hear us, you know, as much as you try to be quiet when you're, you know, getting frisky, but they used to joke with us. So in that respect, it was kind of hard, you know, to see my son take that option, but you know, what can you do? You know?
Can't.
You raise them the way that you think is right, but ultimately they make their own decisions. And I have to add too that I received a message on Mother's Day. He said Happy Mother's Day. And that's the first time in 3 years I'd heard from him.
And I was just going to mention that, you know,
I'm hoping for progress.
Yes. The shell shock of it all, right? Like he's allowed to have his moment. And if it takes him 3 years to get like that thought out and stop being with a sticker shock, that maybe he will come around.
Yeah. It gave me hope. I am trying to rein in, you know, wanting to bombard him with messages.
Of course.
But had landed in Miami for an event on Mother's Day and walking to baggage claim, and my watch goes off and I literally froze. Aww. And I couldn't even talk. And I'm like, I'm just pointing at my watch, you know, to my husband. I'm like, you know, he's like, what's going on? You know, and then he's like, oh, and I almost collapsed and just started bawling. Like I was so excited.
It's crazy because people are always like, you know, the best gifts money can't buy, and that's truly one of them. And you know, recreating that relationship and whatever that might look like, even if it just starts as some surprise text messages, that's great.
Oh yeah, I am thrilled. So we'll see.
Does your first husband know about this career?
So both of my ex-husbands are deceased.
Okay. Okay, got it. So they know.
Yeah, they probably know.
They see what the hell's going on.
And I just have my dad. I'm an only child, so that's like the only family I have on my side.
Yeah.
And my dad is almost 83 and is always, why are you traveling so much? And, you know, so I've tried to dumb it down a little bit.
What does that dumb down look like? I want the watered down version.
Yeah, the watered down version
of the 1%er in OnlyFans.
The dumbed down version is I work in social media. I work with adult industry entertainers and I help them. And, you know, I also do my own social media and do photo shoots. And so, yeah, that's what we're going with now because it almost 83.
Yeah.
You know.
It's interesting how the internet has changed so much, and it's like working in your benefit with the relationship with your dad. My husband, he is 56. I am not 56.
Go 50s.
I know,
decade
right?
of my life.
Like, he's still out here killing it. But his parents are in their 80s, and they think I just have this hobby winery, right? I'm just, and so his dad actually looked us up probably within the last 6 months, and he was like, so this winery you're doing, I put it into Google. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And he's like, so it's a real business? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, wait, so you're in Target. I guess that's kind of a big deal. They're finally like realizing and registering like what's going on. But I think until I actually had a brand to attach myself to as an entrepreneur, you'd ask my mom what I did and she'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Like once I got out of banking and I was an entrepreneur, she's like, I have no idea.
And then one day I woke up and I was just in a puddle. I wasn't sure if I had
blood or
No,
fluid?
just wet. It was like, it was fluid. So I wasn't sure like if I had like went like while I was asleep because pregnant, you can pee on yourself.
You can do a lot of
your
things.
bladder, all that is shot, ma'am.
Right. Wow, I was so tired I didn't even feel this. Right?
Yeah, and I was like, did I pee? Or like, because I know my water didn't break. And so I'm like sitting here, I'm in shock. And I had a doctor's appointment for like that morning at like 8:30 or something. And I call my sister as soon as she like wakes up or I think she's woken up. And I'm like, I don't know like what just happened. Like, I don't like know if my water broke or if I peed. I literally don't know. And she's like, go to the hospital. So get to the hospital and then they do, the scan. It takes a little bit of time. And they confirm that like I have lost like a lot of the baby's fluid. Like, so basically my water still broke with the cerclage. And like at this point, I'm about 20 weeks again. Like I'm about at the same gestation.
My God.
So water breaks, even with the cerclage still intact. And they're like, well, do you want to terminate? Like my doctor is like, this is not going to go well. Like, do you want to go ahead and get rid of the baby? Yeah, because I'm like, that's literally what the conversation was. And I was like, no. So I'm reading online and I find out like that, which is, again, something they don't tell you. They don't tell you a lot of stuff because they expect for you to have like a regular pregnancy. But it's a condition called like PPROM, which is like, it's basically the pre-rupture of membranes. So it's what happens if you have an incompetent cervix. So basically, craziest thing, you can actually have your water break and water actually builds back up. People don't know that. So basically, if you end up in that sort of situation, you take a lot of fluids, they give you IVs, you drink water, and your body will try to reseal a lot of times. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's not completely ruptured.
Okay.
And she was still in a sac. So she wasn't completely ruptured. There was water in the sac.
Okay.
So I ended up changing doctors, one of the doctors on the rotation.
Wait, can we pause there?
Sure.
Because I feel like during pregnancy, especially women that are listening that are going to be going into their, first journey, the advocacy for yourself in the hospital is truly something that is terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
And stressful, and you don't want to ever consider like the worst situation, but listening to other birthing stories and understanding what could be and being able to advocate for yourself and ask more questions.
Yeah.
Did they had the conversation of termination, but they didn't tell you that this was an option?
No. So I ended up reading about it. Like it was kind of a fluke about like what happened because the baby was still alive.
Yeah.
And so I was like, there's got to be something.
Yeah,
and then I found groups, like thousands of women talking about this condition called PPROM.
Okay.
And many of them had broken their water much earlier than me at like 16, 17 weeks. And they were able to sit there because that's basically what you have to do.
Yeah, sit.
You have to sit in the hospital or at home. Let them get you to the point where they give you the steroids and babies are born perfectly fine.
Okay.
Some people actually make it to term.
Wow.
With the condition, without their water. I mean, there's a risk to it.
Of course.
But more often than not, the baby is actually fine.
And as a mother, you're going to try.
Yeah, you're going to try. And so one of the doctors on the rotation, because I had been in the same OBGYN for years. Like at this point, 10 years since I lived in Charlotte, they had been my doctors. And And I told her I didn't want to do that. I wanted to try because I had read about P-prom and, that women work. And she said, I had someone with P-prom. They made it. And so, so I ended up changing to 2 women doctors in the practice. One who is the most amazing. Like, I credit her, of course, alongside God with, like, saving my life.
Yeah.
Because she was like, if this is what you want to do. And it was a discussion with my family, my partner at the time, like, okay, this is what I want to do. And of course, no one was aligned with me because they tell you the risk. And the number one risk is death. And so they're like, death of you, death of the baby, you could both die. But if this is what you want to do, do you want to try it? And I said, yeah. I've made it this far. Like, like every time is like, when I was in one of my corporate jobs, they used to call it the Sisyphus Award. And it's like, literally Sisyphus. Like, when you're trying to pull this rock up this like hill and you just cannot get it up there. And it's like after 5 pregnancies, like I'm this far. Like I don't want to turn back around because I got to start over and maybe I have like another 1 or 2 first trimester miscarriages, but like I'm going to give this a shot. Like I'm going to put my life on the line for my child. And that's what I did.
Oh, I'm starting to get emotional already. And I knew I was going to cry in this one, but like, moms are so brave, and we do things hard every single day. Yeah. But it's like, motherhood is a thing that will, like, break you.
And give you also, the biggest guts.
But also, like, you with no hesitation. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
There was a moment in your career where you would have seen it in the media. Everyone is calling you a racist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I want to, again, get that mother point of view. You're being called a racist while raising.
It was a lot of, I would say it was like 30%. It was a lot. It was like racist, cultural appropriator. Then there was like, there's a term, I think it's called white savior, where it's like, so for anybody who's not familiar with Urban Skin RX specializes in melanin-rich skin. And so because I saw a need that was not being met, there was a huge disparity, not just in dermatology, but in like skin and laser treatments, more cosmetic. I was like, this is unjust. This affects so many people that I love. Like, let me tackle this. And where that white savior term comes in is just like, it's easy for me to do that because being Caucasian, I have like the privilege and the financial means to like be able to fill that need. And then I can take the glory of like, hey, I saved Black skin. You know what I mean? And that does make like a lot of sense to me, but at the end of the day, I think choosing to be an ally of the melanin-rich community, and even more specifically, like the African-American community, you, again, like we've talked about throughout this show, it's like very hard to figure out a little bit, like, where do you stand? Because if I choose to ignore that disparity, I'm wrong and I'm part of the problem. And then it's like, if I choose to like fill it, I also am taking away somebody else, opportunity. Luckily my perspective is there was enough opportunity for a lot of people because there's still such huge disparities as it relates to treating the needs of deeper skin tones that I think that there's enough for a lot of people to try to participate in that. But it was, God, I mean, that and the situation with my child's father, I would say was the 2 hardest things I've ever gone through in my life. And to this day, I think changed me in good ways and bad ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're being called a racist, but you're raising a biracial daughter.
Which, was very interesting. So a lot of things kind of like led up to that really huge moment. But there was an Instagram exchange with a woman who I knew, which I think a lot of people didn't know that we knew each other.
Yeah.
Had called me out on her platform. It was like right after the George Floyd murder. and a lot of writing going on. I'm like within that week, and was just like, basically decided to use her platform to call out people that she felt like was part of the problem. And she basically said, here's this girl in the Charlotte community making all this money off of us and not doing anything for us. And so and then she said that I lied about my kids being Black.
Okay, ladies, we've got an exciting sponsor for this episode, Tend Prenatal. If you're pregnant or planning to be, Tend Prenatal has you covered with their delicious, snackable prenatal vitamins made entirely from whole foods. No more choking down pills. Just grab a 10 bar and know you're getting all the essential nutrients your body and baby need. And because we love you, we're teamed up with Tend to offer you 15% off any order with the code ONLYMOMS. That's ONLYMOMS at tendprenatal.com. Happy snacking. This episode is sponsored by Bayou Skincare. All right, where are all of my frustrated eczema people? This product is specifically for you. If you suffer with angry scalp concerns, seriously, they have you covered. You need to check out Bayou Skincare. They're an award-winning product line where the probiotics and the Bayou herbs are combined to really soothe itchy scalp, improve skin textures, retain hair growth, and restore your skin confidence. The founder has scalp dermatitis herself, and she truly knows your pain. And I'm telling you, if one of your children or you suffer from this, you know how hard it is. The confidence, the itchiness, it's so uncomfortable. Anyways, they have leave-in treatments, shampoo, conditioner, and even facial products. You can get 20% off one-time purchases and subscriptions. So this is an Only Moms special. Use code BAYFORMOMS20! You can learn more and shop the entire line at baysbayouskinar.com. And we're going to link all of that in the show notes because I know it's a lot.
Oh. And so I deal with negativity in social media all the time, and I've been trained through professional PR to obviously ignore it.
Yeah.
But there was something about bringing up my kids that was like, I can't ignore this. And my Javin sat there and he read it and he's like, don't answer back. And I was just like,
yeah,
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I can't not. She said this about my kids. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did Rosie know what was happening?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a huge thing in my life. I don't think I could eat or drink for 3 days. Yeah. Wow. I mean, it was like, it's just, for me, being called a racist is like being called a pedophile, and then I have investors behind my company and they were really trying to dictate the way I responded, and I should have never responded. And so I was second guessing myself when people started telling me how to handle it from there on out. I started listening to everybody and to this day, I actually wish I would have kind of like publicly responded to what I was being accused of. But at that point, I was letting other people tell me. And it was just like, just let it go. So I never really publicly have talked about it.
I was actually shocked that you didn't give a public response.
I know. I will. This thing,
I didn't know you well enough.
This thing was like written and that was posted, but there was a lot of things like, it was a hot freaking mess. But
what did Rosie, did she give any insight?
Yeah, she felt horrible for me. I mean, obviously she knows that like probably 2/3 of my bestest friends who I consider my sisters are Black. My children are Black. I have an uncle who's Black. Like, she knows that that's not me. I think she knows a lot of the kind of philanthropic things that I do for the Black community. So she felt really bad for me.
One thing that I loved in learning about your classes is that I love that you were teaching it, but it was so sad to me to hear. But a lot of women are insecure writing. Yes. And I think it really, the way I want to angle this is it pertains to new moms, right? When you start having sex after baby and
you might want to ride because you enjoy that position, or your husband or your partner is asking you to ride, you know, you don't feel as secure as you used to. Things look different. They feel different. And you teach a lot of women some techniques, especially like postpartum. What if the belly is a little bit bigger than you're used to? And so those of you that are watching the visual, you're going to get a little lesson. If you're just listening, I'm sorry, you're going to have to find us on YouTube, Spotify, right? Like the platforms where you can see this. But I'm excited to show our guests. You're going to do a little tutorial with me. So let's fire that up.
Yes.
Love that. I love that.
Thank you.
If you want to show the girlies like that have some stuff, more stuff going on that they're used to, how we can do this.
So you're going to be
I'm going to be your muse. So for the mom that we've got a little more up front and you might not feel as good with your positioning, she's going to teach us how to ride.
Yes. So I'm the man in this scenario. So this is perfect on the couch because I feel like a lot of people like, how do I spice it up outside of the bedroom? Go on the couch.
Right. No, I agree with that.
So what you're going to do, I'm going to show you.
Okay.
This is going to be my fake Coco body.
Okay.
So what you can do is go with your legs straight, like just sit with your legs straight, right? So I'm the guy. So again, I always talk about your partner helping you.
Right.
So if your partner is here, right, and you're angled, so angle your body, put that arm this way.
This way?
Yes. Bring this arm here. Do you see the you see the flat
I just hit it all. This one arm back here.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, I feel great.
Your angle's perfect. So me as the guy, right? Your partner has to know his body as well. What I would do is take this leg.
Okay. Oh.
Now, do you see how, look at the camera. Do you see how now it covers your stomach?
Yes.
But now, if he comes in closer, right?
Okay.
Now, if you're body to body, bring this arm on my shoulder here. Do you see how now his leg completely covers?
Oh my gosh. You don't have to focus on shit now.
None.
That's
And
great.
what it can do is, if you have a little sag, the boob can
Just gonna
actually
put it
sit.
right up on the give it a shelf.
Give it a shelf.
Look, she said that riding is not all your responsibility, and I agree.
You see my leg? This would be the guy's leg. So even if you took your leg and put it under the guy's, this could be a great position for you here, right?
Okay.
Also, if you want to get a little like, ooh, spicy, but not feel the spiciness in your body, take this leg.
Okay.
And now you're here.
Oh.
So now what? But do you see now how you just covered your boob and your stomach by just doing this?
Yeah.
Now, use that arm, put this here, and thrust up.
Oh, now
So
we
now
got
if
a lot
he's
of...
here,
Wow.
but if he's strong, he can actually just be here.
Oh.
And now he's actually doing all the work while you ride, but if his stroke is bad, what you're going to do is you're going to hold my shoulder down with this leg.
Got
and now
it.
use this. Oh, your little legs are so short. But what you can do is, like, you see how you're using your foot to do this? Now you can control the stroke.
Right. Got it.
Boom.
Boom. That is the best. I mean, like, I want to be close to you, but I want to hide my shit right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so
And
good.
now you're close. You're intimate, but you don't have to feel insecure by being so vulnerable with what your body is at that moment.
I love that. So this is what you will learn in her class, y'all, and I encourage you to take it. She is going on tour. We are going to link it based on when this episode drops on where you'll be.
And I don't know if you want me to announce this.
Feel free.
We may have something with only moms for the moms.
A little mom juice.
Little
a little
mom juice.
Positioning. Why not?
But the only way to find out is if you stay tuned. Stay tuned to stay in the loop.
I love it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Coco, thank you for coming on today.
Absolutely.
Please, before you go, I want you to tell everyone the classes that you are teaching currently in Atlanta and then how they can find you and book you out.
So, again, like she said so articulately, My name is Coco, the Conversational Freak, and you can find me on Instagram at The Conversational Freak. We have classes in Atlanta once a month. I also am on a city tour right now. So we go to different cities, we do pop-ups, we do all of the things. We also have virtual classes for those who cannot come to our cities. That is perfectly fine. We do virtual classes for you guys as well. You can join our community at conversationalfreaks.com. You can see all of our replays. So when we're talking about angles, when we're talking about mobility, we do all of it together, because if you fall, I fall with you, because you will stand with me together. So
Welcome to season 2 of Only Moms. And you know I can't kick things off without a little treat from my favorites. So if you're new around here, let me fill you in. 4 years ago, with my amazing business partner, Kristen Taylor, I co-founded Mom Juice. We're all about keeping the bullshit out of wine, literally. We're gluten-free and vegetarian. We also practice ingredient transparency by putting all of our ingredients on the back of the bottle. I know you might be giggling, but not all wine is vegetarian, okay? So you might just be drinking fish bladder, but that's none of my business. Here's the fun part. As your Only Mom sponsor, I'm here to hook you up with 20% off your next order. Just head over to momjuicewine.com and use promo code ONLYMOMS to go and treat yourself. You deserve it. Welcome back, Only Moms. Today I have Iman Bruton on the podcast. Iman was raised in Milton, Florida. She earned her degree in sociology from FSU. Her journey into yoga began as a way to manage anxiety after graduating from high school, and it has been a transformative practice in her life ever since. She's been dedicated to yoga since 2014 and became a certified instructor in 2017. In 2020, Iman made the bold decision to leave her job and pursue her passion full-time. She has a deep interest in health, healing, and self-study, and is committed to living a life that aligns with her well-being on every level. So, Iman, to make this interview more exciting and engaging, yes. I'm just gonna get back here and make eye contact with you the entire time. Am I doing this correctly?
You're doing it perfectly.
Is this a good angle?
Listen, that arch is beautiful.
Okay, this is good.
That's great.
Are we connected?
We're connected.
Okay, let's get
I'm
going.
Feeling it.
She's into it now, you guys. She's into it. So if you check out Iman's social media, you will see some sexy tips on how to keep intimacy alive, or even just so much as spicing up a position, right?
Exactly.
And I love that. Why don't we dive in first by telling our guests, telling our people what you actually teach.
So I teach yoga as one aspect of my classes. I primarily work with couples, and I utilize yoga, meditation, breath work, and so many other exercises to assist them with building intimacy outside of the bedroom. And I also work with women, and I utilize some of the same practices, so yoga, breathing, and meditation, and those types of tools to just help them to connect more with their sensuality.
Oh, yes. That's so great. I feel like, we have a lot of sex conversations on the Only Moms podcast as it pertains to sex while pregnant, sex post-baby. And I was really shocked to learn that you get a lot of pregnant women in your classes.
Yes, I do. Throughout these 4 years that I've been teaching, I've had quite a few pregnant moms come at different stages. Usually they'll message me and ask, can I do this? I'm pregnant. And I'll make sure to let them know, consult with your doctor first, because we will be stretching and doing yoga poses. Although the poses and the stretches that we do are beginner friendly, it's nice to see them in there with their bellies and with their partners, supporting them throughout the class. And it honestly blows my mind, because these women will be pregnant, but they're still rocking these moves and stretching and doing the poses just as good as anyone else. So it's interesting, and it's nice to see that women are just defying the odds, because people assume if you're pregnant, you can't do too much. And there are certain hazards, things you have to be aware of, but they come to class, and it's just nice to see them focus on them and their partners, even though they are pregnant. So
something too is that I feel like when you're pregnant, you go through stages, right? I went through a stage where I just didn't feel sexy because my body was changing so rapidly. And then I went through a stage where I was super sexual. And depending on where you are in your pregnancy journey, you know, this can be something that you're prepping for something so new that's coming to your life. You're doing other classes with your partner, but you're maybe not really connecting with your partner. It's so baby centric and how you're going to move forward in the next chapter that the intimacy aspect, right, can be taken out of that. And so your class is so important because it can help us feel sexy again. It can help us remind, like, be in the moment with your partner for a second, right? Like, bring that fire back.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. And even before they have the baby, but I love getting moms who are, you know, active and who are parenting, and because it can be a lot. And I don't have children myself, but, you know, I have nieces, and I know I work with children, so I know how exhausting it can be, you know, being a mom. So I also love to just have the moms in general come to class to take that time for themselves and their partner, because burnout can impact intimacy as well. Because if you're, you know, burnt out, you may not be in the mood. Like you said, women go through those phases and stages of feeling sexy and not feeling sexy. So,
yeah. Well, cheers to you and your classes. Today, Iman is drinking our Sauvignon Blanc. So I definitely want you to give it a try and let us know what you think.
Okay. That's really good.